Have you ever like played a game and been like, damn, I'm insanely slow. If only the developer was, smart enough and considerate enough of the players to make a sprint system. Everyone loves the developer who adds sprinting, right? Sprinting is just fun. So let's just do that right now, right? So the thing we need to do is number one, we need to detect when the player actually inputs like something, right? So for many games, I know, when you like hold shift, you begin sprinting. But then for the issue with Roblox is that some players have this thing called shift lock, and like when they press shift, it like changes their like camera position or whatever. So for this tutorial, I'm gonna be using Q as my key, but like I'll show you how you can use like any other key you want, right? And then after that, we need to actually increase the player speed and maybe like change the camera field of view. Make the camera like more zoomed out when the player's running, and then as a very final step, we can like animate that. So we can like animate the camera like smoothly instead of just changing the field of view choppy. We'll make it change the field of view like as an animation, as a tween, right? Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is we need to detect when the player presses a key, right? And the way we do this is we go to starter player script, and then we make a local script, and I'll name this Keybind script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the user input service because that's going to allow us to detect key presses, right? So I'm going to say local user input service like this equals game colon get service user input service. And so we're going to use this UIS and we're going to access the user input service, like built-in functions and events to actually understand like when the keys are being pressed. So I'll say UIS dot input began. And then I'll connect that to a function, which input began will give us the actual input that, that's being pressed, and game processed event, which is a true or false. If this is true, then the player was doing something else, like they were typing, for example. So if they were typing, then this would be true. So if the player is typing, we probably don't want that to be affecting the game. So then we could just say, okay, if processed is true, then don't do anything, right? But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just not going to use this, right? So we only want the input, like so. Yeah, so just we have the input. And then we need to detect when the input ended. So input ended, connect function. Also, we get the input, right? Like so. So what we could do now is we can say if input dot key code. So dot key code it describes the kind of input used. So we're saying, okay, if the input key code is equal to enum key code, and enum just means like a value. So enum is like the value that is a key code that is, and here you can like have all of them. So you can have a shift, I think, equals enum key code. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So it's not just shift. It's either right shift, or left shift. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, for right now, we're going to be using Q, right? So just the Q key. So if input key code, if input key code equals enum key code Q, then for now, let's just print out. Let's just print out running. And then I can just copy this. I'll paste it here. So then when the input ends and, the input that is ended is Q, then we're going to print walking. So now if I run the game, and so right now we're walking, and when I hold Q, it says running. When I let go of Q, it's walking. Running, walking, running, walking, running, walking. Awesome. Now what we want to do is we want to, whenever the player actually, is holding Q, we want to make their speed faster. And the only way we could do that is on the server, because right now we're using a local script, and so we're only doing this like locally, right? To change the actual speed, we need to do something on the server. Now before we actually do that, what I want to do is I want to like change the camera like field of view, right? So I want the camera to like kind of zoom out when we're like supposed to be running, and then zoom back in when we're supposed to be stopped. And the way we get the player's camera is we say local camera is equal to workspace.current camera. So this only works on local scripts, not server scripts, right? So, but because we're using a local script, then it's fine. So this is our player's camera. And a camera has a field of view parameter, which is a number, and I believe it's 70 by default. So what we could do is we could say, okay, when the player is running, we'll just increase the field of view. So we'll say camera.field of view plus equals, or just equals. So by default it's 70. If we want to make it wider, like we want to make it more zoomed out, we need to make it higher. So we'll just say 80. And then here we're going to set when the player's walking, we're going to set it back to the default, which is 70. Let's see. So if I played the game right now. Yep, there we go. As you can see, we are now doing it like that. Beautiful. And then if you want, you could increase it by more. You could make it 90 if you want. If 80 doesn't satisfy your, primal running urges. I like this. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, there we go. Um, and now what we want to do, so there's two more things, very quick, right? The first thing I want to do is to actually send a message to the server when we're supposed to be running or walking, and then change the speed from there. And then as a last thing, I just want to animate this. So it doesn't just like immediately snap to, 90 and then immediately snap to 70. I want it to like smoothly go to 90 and then smoothly go back to 70. So yeah, first we need to make the actual speed increase. So I'll make a script in server script service. I'll make it a server script. I'll call it movement script. And the way we actually send a message from, this local script to the server script is by using a remote event. So I'll call this sprint events, like so. And then inside inside here, what I'll do is I'll make a variable for the event. So I'll say local event is equal to game replicated storage. And then just in case it's still loading, we're just going to wait for it. So wait for child sprint event. And I'll copy this and then I'll put the same thing over here, like so. So then when, instead of printing running, now we can get the event and we can fire it to the server. And then because we are supposed to be running, I'll just say sprint. So I'll pass in the word sprint. And then when we're supposed to be walking, let me see. I'm going to just pass it the word walk. Now, you can make these whatever you want. What we're going to do is on the server, when we get the actual event, when we actually fire to server and when the server gets our message from the client, we're going to check what this word is. And we're going to say, okay, if it's sprint, then we increase the speed. If it's walk, then we, set the speed back to default. So movement script, and then I'll say, okay, event on server event. So when we get, the fire event, when we get the fire server, we're going to connect that to a function. And then we're going to get the player, the player who fired, and we're going to get whatever this is. So this is either walk or sprint. So I'm going to name this variable player state, right? So this player state is either going to be equal to walk or sprint. So what I'm going to do is I'll say, okay, if player state is equal to walk, or no, actually sprint, let's do sprint first, then we're going to take the player, right? And the way we change the speed, let me actually see this, because again, all part of the process. You got to check stuff every now and then. Okay, so first of all, I need to get my player's character. So we probably need to make sure that we have a character for the player. And then we go to the humanoid and then we change the speed from there. Awesome. Okay, the walk speed is 16. So we need to change the walk speed of the humanoid of the character. Okay. So right now, see, we just found a few things we need to do. So first we need to check if there's a player character. So if player character, actually, no, let's say if not player character. So if we don't have a player character, then we're just going to return end. And return just basically stops this function. So if we don't have a player character, then we just don't do any of this code. But if we do have a player character, then we are going to do this code. And then if player state is sprint, then we'll say player.character, wait for child humanoid dot walk speed. And then we're just going to increase it by 4. And what plus equals means is like player.character humanoid walk speed is equal to its current value plus 4, right? Or plus equals 4. Else, if player state, is walk, so else if player state is walk, it's walk, right? What do we, yeah, walk. Then we're going to say that, okay, player.character, that walk speed is minus equals 4. So we're going to subtract 4 from its current value. Or actually, no, you know what? Maybe let's do I want the effect to be felt, So let's do 8. Let's double the speed increase and decrease. Someone's playing Ultra Kill. It's a pretty fun game, by the way. I recommend you try it out. Oh, player state equals walk then. Okay, I forgot the then word. So yeah, if player state is sprint, then we do this. Else if player state is walk, then we do this. And then if it's not sprint or walk for some reason, we're just gonna warn. And warn, it's basically just a print, but it's it's in an orange, the color of the words is gonna be orange, right? We're just gonna warn and say player state is missing, which it shouldn't, right? Because we're only firing it twice, and in both we're providing the correct parameters. But again, just in case, you want to account for every possibility. Yeah, so if I play right now, it's okay, we're walking. Okay, so as you can see, we're slowly like doing this. Okay, I'm not too sure. I can't really feel the speed. Let's increase it by a tiny bit. You know, a small amount. Let's see if this works. There we go. Yep. I think this maybe maybe is working. So I'm holding Q right now. When I let go of Q, it goes back. When I keep holding, it goes here, goes here, goes here, goes here. So yeah, I'll set this to like 20, sure. Awesome, so that works. So we can close that. And the last thing I want to do is, again, animate this field of view, right? And the way we can do this is just by using tween service. So tween services basically allows us to create tweens, which are basically like kind of like animations in Roblox, right? So let me show you. I'll call it TS for tween service, is game get service tween service. And we're going to create two tweens. The first tween is going to be for actually like zooming the camera out, and the second tween is going to be for zooming the camera back in. So I'll say local zoom out is going to be equal to TS, so tween service create, and because we're modifying the camera, it needs, you know, the instance of what we're changing, so it's going to be the camera. Then it needs tween info, which we can just say make by saying okay, tween info dot new. It wants the time of that the tween will take, so maybe 0.5 seconds. We don't want it to be too long. And then the enum easing style could be back, so it's gonna overshoot the camera a little bit. And that's it. We don't need to put anything else. So we can just have the time and the easing style of back. And then we need to actually make a table with the properties that we want to change. So we want to change field of view. So I'll make a table. I'll say field of view equal to 90. Yeah, so this creates an animation that's going to modify the camera. These are like the parameters of the animation. So we have the time and we have the easing style. And then we have the actual like properties of the camera that we want to change and what we want it to be. So we want the field of view to become 90 within 0.5 seconds with this easing style. Then I'm going to create another tween, zoom in, and it's going to be effectively the same thing. Let me see. But yeah, but except for 90, it's going to be back to 70, like so. Yeah, so now we can just say zoom out and we're going to play it. And then here it's going to be zoom in and we're going to play it as well. Awesome. So this should be working. There we go. See? It has a nice like little move to it. And again, because we set the easing style to be back, it slightly overshoots the camera. So like this, see? So it overshoots and it goes like and then back, right? Like too far back. Too far back. If you're a beginner, I do have a newsletter. You check out the comment section, sign up, give me your email, and you'll get emails from me, which obviously is a insanely high return on investment from you. So obviously, no brainer. give me your information, please. I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna delete this, and we are back to basics. Thank you for watching.